Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairul Anas bin Khairomzi and my matric number is SP22101, and our group chose flavonoid analysis in HPLC method for the laboratory to provide quality control services. So, first of all, what is flavonoids? Flavonoids are a large group of naturally occurring compounds found in a wide variety of fruits, vegetables, and other plants. They are polyphenolic compounds, which means they contain multiple phenol units. Flavonoids have been known to have antioxidant properties, which means they neutralize harmful molecules known as free radicals that can damage cells in the body. Next, what is the benefits for flavonoids? Flavonoids known for the anti-inflammation, antiviral, and anti-cancer properties. Next, there are a broad spectrum of health-promoting effects, potent inhibitors for several enzymes, having properties of antifungal, antiviral, and antibacterial activity. Last but not least, protection against various chronic diseases such as cancer, cardiovascular disorder, and osteoporosis. Next, what is the example products of flavonoids? There is many products that contain flavonoids such as Blackmore's BioSeal 1000 and Ginkgo biloba. We can find these products near our drugstore such as Watson and Guardian. For the example compound that contain in the flavonoids, there are gallic acid, apigenin, and cinnamic acid. Next, what is our aim and our objective? Our aim is to quantify flavonoids content in commercializing biotechnology product. And what is our objective? Our objective is to establish quality assurance and quality control to determine their effectiveness, to identify which population may benefit most from flavonoid consumption. Last but not least, to quantify flavonoids content in commercializing biotechnology products like a dietary supplement using high performance liquid chromatography. That's all from me.
Hello everyone, my name is Nordam Timagim, student ID SP1209. So today I would like to explain about the definitions of the method scope. It is very important to first specify the scope of the method and inspiration criteria before executing a variation method for a specific application. In this test, next in the test method, there are two tests in it, which are instrumentation details, and the second one is test explanation. First, for the instrumentation details, there are high performance liquid chromatography, or chemical as HPLC. HPLC is a principle that can be used to separate, can be used as to recognize and quantify the active ingredients in a mixture. This HPLC can be known as one of the most widely used preparation technique. It can be very specific, sensitive, and precise, and it is also expensive. Okay, for the second one is test explanations. The first one is the liquid sample. What will happen to the liquid sample is that it will be injected into the liquid, or can be called as mobile phase. Then it will be flowed through the separation medium, or can be known as stationary phase. Then it can be eluted into the different constituents, which are the column packing is used to separate the components from one another. Then it will pass through the detector. Then detector will recognize the analytes, then giving the signals to the data management system. That meaning that signals will be converted and recorded by the data management system. Lastly, as the detector will measure the amounts, it will form an output that called as liquid chromatogram. That's all for me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sudarmadi Radhakrishnan with ID number SB21093. For my part, I am going to talk about validation criteria. All analytical methods should be validated through laboratory tests. Specificity, linearity, limit of detection and limit of quantification, robustness, precision and accuracy are the performance characteristics of method. These characteristics are important to determine how the method is performed. Specificity is an ability to distinguish an analyte to be determined from other substances. It also could be manipulated by the addition to sample of chemical species that disturb the determination of target analytes. To evaluate specificity, we can use HPLC to determine the analyte as pure compound. Purity can be checked through spectral evaluation. Linearity is an ability to obtain test results that are directly proportional to analyte concentration within a given range. It may be demonstrated directly on the active substances or on weighing the synthetic mixtures. To evaluate the linearity, we have to analyze the reference materials, plot a graph of measurements against concentration, then calculate the regression coefficient and plot the residual values. Limit of detections is the lowest amount of analyte, which can be detected but not quantitated as exact value, while limit of quantification is the small concentration of analyte which can be quantified. Both can be evaluated in signal-noise ratio in chromatograph. Robustness is a measure of capability to remain unaffected by small but deliberate variations in method parameters. It also provides an indication of reliability during normal usage. There are some factors of ruggedness such as pH, stability of instrumented system, extraction time, concentration of reagents, temperature of reactions, and time allowed for competitions. Precision is the closeness of agreement between independent test results obtained under stipulated conditions and measure of degree of reproducibility or repeatability of procedure. To evaluate precision, we have to analyze replicated of a representative sample with the replicate spread across different batches. Then, calculate the sample standard deviation. Last but not least, accuracy is a qualitative term expresses the closeness of a result to a reference value. It should be established across specific range of analytical methods. Trueness have to be evaluated in accuracy to determine the trueness of a method for the active ingredient. The method could be applied to an analyte with the reference standard. Results from the method can be compared to others. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Wong Yanling. Metric number is SB20133. So for my part, I will explain about the performance test and the performance characteristic. So for the performance test, I will use three types of the tests, which are the calibration curve, recovery studies, and the statistical analysis. So for the calibration curve, we will use the quercetin to make the standard calibration curve. So 5 mg of the quercetin will dissolve in the 1 ml of the methanol. So the standard quercetin solution will then make by serial dilution. So 0.6 ml of diluted standard quercetin will separately mix with 0.6 ml of 2% of aluminium chloride. So after mixing, the solution was incubated for 60 minutes at room temperature. The adsorbent of the reaction mixture was measured against a blank at 420 nanometer wavelength with a spectrophotometer. So the total flavonoid content were expressed as quercetin using the following equation based on the calibration curve, which is the y equals to mx plus c, where y was the adsorbent. For the recovery study, we can use the grape skin. Why we use the grape skin? Because it includes significant level of various flavonoid. So optimization of the enzyme-assisted extraction of flavonoid was conducted using immunological enzyme preparation with respect to enzyme dosage, temperature, extraction time, pH, and the enzyme preparation. So optimal conditions were obtained using enzyme preparation less than XV at the temperature of 45 degrees Celsius, 3 hours, pH of 2, and the enzyme dosage of 10.52 mg per g. So for the statistical analysis, to determine the total flavonoid, we were using DPPH and the cellular antioxidants assay. So it must be conducted in 3 times. The value are expressed as the mean plus minus standard deviation. So analysis of the variance and the significance of difference among the means were tested by one-way ANOVA and less significant difference on the means value. The correlation coefficients and the coefficient of the determination were calculated using the Microsoft Excel 2007. So the next part will be the performance characteristic. So first one is the specificity. So what is specificity? So specificity is the ability to assess the analyte in the presence of the component which may be expected to be present. So the specificity was evaluated through the analysis of the sample spiked with each flavonoid standard separately and of sample spike with a mixture of quantity standard. The specificity of the validated method determined during the optimization of the analyte determination condition where the parameter selection have been carried out in such a way that the component separation was the best and the influence of the interference factor was the lowest. Next will be the accuracy. So accuracy was evaluated by determining the method recovery. So the accuracy experiment were performed applying the method to quantify the quercetin. Analysis sample was spiked with known amount of the flavonoid standard. There are 3 different amount of quercetin were added to the sample. So the accuracy should cover at least 3 concentration. So we can try in 80%, 100%, and 120% in the expected range. So the mixture was hydrolyzed and injected into HPLC. So the percent recovery of each flavonoid from spike sample was calculated as follows. So we can see that there are the calculation for the percentage of the recovery. So next, the third one will be the linearity. So linearity is to evaluate the method. So the calibration curve were plotted by the peak area versus the concentration of the each flavonoid. So to prepare the standard solution, quercetin were dissolved in the methanol. So the linear regression equation were calculated as y equal to ax plus minus b. So where x was the concentration and the y was the peak area of the each flavonoid. The acceptance criteria for the linearity is that the correlation coefficient should not less than 0.99 over the working range of 80 to 120%. So next one will be the LOD and the LOQ. So LOD is stand for limit of detection and LOQ is stand for the limit of quantification. So these two determined based on the standard deviation of the response and the slope using the calibration curve data. So analysis were performed in 3 times. The low limit of the detection and the limit of quantitation of quercetin enable the detection and quantitation of this flavonoid in broccoli at low concentration. So the calculation for the limit of detection were based on the standard deviation of y-intercept of the regression line and the slope using the equation LOD equal to 3.3 SD per S. limit of quantification were calculated by the equation LOQ equals to 10 SD per S. So next will be the precision. So the precision of the intra and the intraday was evaluated by the repeated injection. So intraday experiment was obtained by 6 replicates for a day, and the interday was determined by 6 injections for 3 days for the peak area. So the precision was expressed as relative standard deviation. So the following levels of the precision are recommended by the LQMV. So the last one will be the robustness. The robustness of the method was analyzed by obtaining the flavonoid concentration as routine equivalence in the sample under the original condition of the method, and after slight variation in sample extraction time, solvent mark, and wavelength. All the statistical analysis were performed at a significant level of 5% using the action of stat software coupled to Excel 2016.
Good day everyone, my name is Lam Jingyi with matrix number SP20052. So for my part, I'm going to talking about the ongoing routine test for this analytical method. So there is 3 examples in this ongoing routine test, which is SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, System Suitability Test, and also the Analytical Quality Control. So for the first one, Standard Operating Procedure, we have 4 steps to be carried out. Is the first, preparation of the sample. Second, the reference material to be prepared. Third, we need to review the test result. And the last is we need to document the test result. So moving on to the second, system suitability test. For our analytical method, we need to perform a HPLC experiments onto our product flavonoid. Next, we need to determine the impurity of the product by inject the sample and run by gradient illusion mode. So the parameter we'll be going use in this step is the repeatability, retention time, resolution, and also the column efficiency. So next, and also the last ongoing routine test, which is the analytical quality control. So there is 7 criteria to be assessed in this analytical quality control, which is abstract, introduction, analytical procedure, result, discussion, conclusion, and also reference. So for the abstract, we need to give an overall guideline for this experiment. Next, for the introduction, we need to strengthen the statement of requirement in this abstract. Next, the analytical procedure, we need to list out all the material and the apparatus and also the relevant steps that required in the HPLC experiment. So for the result, we need to present the result in a logical and consistent way. And for the discussion, we need to make a statement to strengthen the analytical result in order to provide a reliable and trusted result. So for the conclusion, we need to provide an overall conclusion for our experiments, and the reference is used for guideline for clarity. So that's all from my part. Thank you.